Caught in a Mosh by Anthrax right here on your home for the loudest rock, 89.5 WSOU. This is Patrick, and we play that song for a very special reason because right now we are joined by Mr. Frank Bello from Anthrax. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Patrick. I had a long drive over the bridge. I live in New York and took an Uber. It was good. Sun's shining. I'm over COVID. Everything's good.
All right. Solid day. So we're celebrating 40 years of Anthrax right now. You just got off your 40th anniversary tour. What does day to day look like on tour for you when you're not playing?
See, Patrick, I don't know what you say about 40 years because I'm 21, so that's really weird. Now, we just got off the Black Label, Anthrax Black Label and Hatebreed tour, which was a great successful tour. Sorry to say that it ended because it was going so well. The shows were packed, if not sold out, packed. It's really nice to see the metal community come to all these shows and really pack them up. And I'm kind of a little slower because I'm getting back to home life now. I think I have a show next Thursday. I'm gotta get back up. It's always weird mixing those things up, but the tour was great. I'm happy to say metal is alive and well, and we always love. That's the reason why I'm here today, because I support this station and I love what you guys. Look, we've been around forever. You guys are keeping it going, and we really appreciate that. And I really want to do this, and I think it's important to keep it going.
Yeah, of course. Wish I could have made it to the Coney Island show. That was actually the day I moved in.
Oh,
so
cool. No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, but I saw on your Instagram when you were in Minneapolis, like you got lost trying to find the Mary Tyler Moore statue. Are you a big sightseer on tour?
Yeah, I'm pathetic. I have no life. You get on tour, you're in a rhythm, right? What happens is, look, these are opportunities. Not a lot of people have these great opportunities to explore. I like exploring. I get up, get off the bus, I go in my room and I get right out, go to Starbucks and just start walking around. And sometimes I get in trouble because you get in weird neighborhoods. You got to be a little careful with that. But like the Mary Tyler Moore thing in Minneapolis, I'm a huge you guys don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Mary Tyler Moore, Google it. It's an amazing, one of my favorite sitcoms, probably my favorite sitcoms of all time. I went and they had this statue that it was set in Minneapolis. Yeah. And they have this famous statue that's there right in front of where she threw the hat in the air. If you guys look at the YouTube version of it, it's an incredible thing. So every time I'm in Minneapolis, I take a picture with it. For some reason, Google Maps got me lost. I don't know what the hell I did, but I have no idea. I had to take an Uber to Mary. It was ridiculous. I got really lost, but I made it, and that's what I do. So I really try to get out, whenever we can, and you kind of get away from the tour. It's important to get away and get your headspace, so that's what I do.
And that Coney Island show, I remember Scott said that was probably the first time Anthrax played Brooklyn since L'Amour's.
Probably. You know what? And here's another weird thing. I've never been, I don't know if you guys have ever been, I've never been to Coney Island. I grew up in the Bronx, born and raised in New York. I've never been to Coney Island. It's crazy. And that was a great venue. I had no idea. Coney Island Amphitheater, packed. I couldn't believe how many people were there. It's a great show. But just looking outside, saying, I missed all this, the hot dogs, all that stuff. I never had any kind of part of that. But I had heard, unfortunately, that night, or the night after, that unfortunately there was like some kind of bad thing that happened. There's like 4 people who shot on the boardwalk. It was stunk. I was like, man, I'm glad we're out of there. After we left. So, and
something cool that I saw too was because you were in Brooklyn, you brought out Chuck D for Bring the Noise.
Chuck D did 100 mile. He drove 100 miles for us, and that's how close we are. That's how we're family at this point with Chuck. He came out in L.A. at the Hollywood Palladium, sold out, crazy big show, and that's the beginning of the tour. And we did Bring the Noise, and it went over. It just blew the roof off. And here, it was just another thing. When he came out, the energy it rose to a whole new level, and you just feel it. It's power. The only way I could describe it is power. You just feel like, oh my God, we just raised the level just now, and people are still talking about that show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're celebrating 40 years of Anthrax here, so for the next 2 hours we'll be jamming out to some Anthrax, also jamming out to some Frank Bello faves. We got one of those up next. It's Pantera off of Vulgar Display of Power, which turned 30 this year, I think.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's too fast. Amazing. But I love it. I love it, man.
What's special to you about this album?
Well, we were very close with Pantera. Touring, we toured a lot with them. Drinking. when I know you guys are in college, you understand this. So for me, when I came home from that tour, that Pantera tour, I turned gray. I was gray. I remember my wife looking at me, and she goes, "Oh no, 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 no," because I was another shade of gray. I had to really come down because we were having so much fun on that tour. I mean, those guys knew how to do it. One of the best metal, if not the best, party bands. I just loved them. They knew how to party. They played heavy music, and they lived their lifestyle, and I miss them every day of my life.
Yeah, totally. So that's what we got coming up next, Mouth for War. If you have any requests, anything you'd like to shout out, you can always call or text 973-761-9768. That's 973-761-WSOU. We got John, the Black Knight, in the other booth. He'll take care of you. We'll see what we can do. But for now, it's Pantera, Mouth for War on WSOU. Keep it locked. Lone Justice by Anthrax right here on WSOU, your home for the loudest rock at Seton Hall's Pirate Radio. This is Patrick, and I am here with Frank Bello from Anthrax. You having a good time?
I'm having a great time when you're yapping away here. Sorry, when you guys playing songs, it's cool. When yapping away, good people. Yeah, man. I love what you guys are doing here. I think it's really important for our metal community to have a station like this. It's been around so long, and you guys have always been great to Anthrax and metal in general. So anything I could do to help them, I'm always here.
Yeah, for sure. And that song, Lone Justice, you said that was the first album track you ever recorded based for Anthrax.
I'll take you through this, Patrick. Imagine, I think I was 18 years old, younger than you, right?
Yeah.
18 years old. So I went to the College of Anthrax, graduated early. We were talking about this before. Graduated early, got in the band, and this is my first record. So I remember going into the studio. Oh my God, the microscope. A studio is a microscope. They look at how you play and how everything goes down. You really have to know your stuff. I was nervous as stuff. Yeah. Did I say it? I thought I stopped it. Damn it.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. So I was really nervous. And I remember this track specifically was my first track, Lone Justice. A lot of bass lines, a lot of crazy little bass lines in there that I made up. And I remember our producer, Carl Kennedy, he was looking at me, and I was holding the bass, sitting like this as I was, and I was shaking. I was literally shaking like this. You can't see this, but I'm shaking. And I remember he's laughing at me. He goes, "Come on." He brings me in the kitchen, the studio kitchen, and gives me a shot of whiskey. We have a shot. We toast each other. I went back in, and it made me know. Not only the shot calmed me down, it felt good. It made me know that he was on my side, and it calmed me down, and I could just get onto it. So that has a lot to say. When I hear that song, that's what I think of. Because when you're in a band, the songs, when you hear them like this on the record, it's like a scrapbook of your life. You go back and you remember the studio, the producer, what it was like. And this song is very special to me just because it was my first album song.
Yeah, and that album, Spreading the Disease, was such a turning point for the band, especially since Fistful of Metal. It didn't do nearly as well as Kill 'Em All did.
Right,
but something else that I thought was cool that you didn't see on Fistful of Metal is, I don't know how many sound engineers we have listening, but how much the high end of your bass cuts through the mix. That's something you don't hear a whole lot in metal, at least not nowadays. I mean, obviously in new metal, Korn was all about that. But in thrash, you can kind of tell it's an Anthrax song because of how much your bass is in there. So it just adds another layer of heaviness to it. Was that you? Was that an engineer who kind of...
As the bass player in these bands, here's what happens. In Anthrax, we have the heavy kick drum of Charlie Benanti and the heavy, thick layer of guitar with Scott. Now, where does Frank Bello, the bass player, fit in anywhere? Because it could get really lost if you have a bigger, fatter sound. So you have to find the right frequency that's right in the middle. It has to lay in right in the middle, and it took us a while to get there. This way you could be heard in the stuff you're playing and still add to the song. It sounds like a big bunch of mumbo-jumbo, but it's not. It actually is about frequency and getting in there. So that's a good question. But that's specific on because that's the Anthrax sound. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, for sure. And up next we have another Frank Bello pick here. It's Mastodon. Show Yourself.
Great band, great guys. If you ever have a chance to hang out with these guys, hang out, because they are a party on wheels. It's a lot of fun. I love this band and I love the guys in it. They're awesome.
All right, so we got that coming up next. Again, if there's any requests you might have, call or text 973-761-9768. That's 973-761-WSOU. If you have any questions you want to ask Frank, you can always call or text in there. But for right now, it's Mastodon. Show yourself. Keep it locked to the loudest rock. Stillborn by Black Label Society. Stillborn by Black Label Society by Black Label Society. The song was Stillborn featuring Ozzy Osbourne right here on WSOU, your home for the loudest rock. This is Patrick, and we are here with Frank Bello from Anthrax, just getting off a tour with Black Label Society. Want to tell us about that?
And as you can see, I have my tour shirt from Black Label Society.
Oh, yeah.
Great band, great crew, great friends. That was a party on tour because we haven't done a tour. This is the first Anthrax tour since before COVID. Mm-hmm. So, look, to be honest, I was really worried about getting COVID, which I did, of course, because that's what happens when you're on tour now. And we had to go down for 2 shows, but this tour, there was a lot of people at these shows, man. If it wasn't sold out, it was packed every night. We didn't have one bummer show, so I'm very happy to say everything's really alive and well with metal. But I miss these guys already. It's weird because you leave a tour and you're in this rhythm. It was Anthrax, Black Label, and Hatebreed, and you have this great rhythm of family you see every day, and the bands and the crews, and all of a sudden, Monday morning, I'm in my house, and it's just really weird. It's waking up. I'm not on the tour bus anymore. I sleep better in the tour bus than my house, weirdly enough, but it's just a very weird thing. Like even as I speak now, it's Thursday, and I'm still not kind of in my home rhythm yet. I'm still on the tour rhythm, getting into the home rhythm. But a great tour, man. Great guys, great band. Every musician in that band is awesome.
And that tour has 2 members from the Pantera reunion tour.
Yes.
You got Zach Wilde on guitar and then Charlie on
drums.
Did you hear him practicing at all?
Charlie, yes, and we actually played some Pantera little bits and pieces on the stage. I'm very psyched about this because number one, we were very close to Pantera. They were our family. So to see them celebrated like this, to see Dime and Vinny celebrated like this with these 2 specific people, Charlie and Zach, it's very special because these guys are going to play the songs the right way to the T because they care and they have the chops, even better enough. So for me, can't wait to see this. I think it's great, a great celebration of Pantera. For those people who haven't seen Pantera, I think this is a nice thing to go to and see, just hear those songs again live. Those songs were so special. If you hear it on the record, yeah, of course it's beautiful and great. But my God, to hear them live again, when we were on tour at Pantera, and we did a lot of touring with them, I was on the side of the stage every night, and with Black, what Black Tubes are? Black Toots, Crown Royal, and Coke. That was Dimebag's favorite shot.
Got it.
So if you were around Dimebag, say Dimebag was in this room right now, he'd have a tray. Well, we have a couple of bottles of Crown and some Coke soda, and we have to do these shots because let's go. Let's get. He's like one of those great people you love to, full of life.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to be around him, and he'd make you feel good. Let's go, and we do some shots, and he make you feel good about life. And Vinny was the same way. Just 2 great people, and they're really missed big time.
I remember Dave Grohl talked about that in his book, how every interaction with Pantera just had so much energy in it. It was so infectious. I remember he talked about getting out of his van for a tour. He's like 1,000 feet away and he can hear Pantera like perfectly clear.
Absolutely, dude. When we were touring with Pantera, we got in. We had a lot of fun. We go to casinos just about almost every night after our shows. It would be Anthrax and Pantera playing. After the show, somebody from one of the bands would say casino, and we get in their bus. We go to the nearest casino, and it was debauchery. We would just be loaded. Think about the bus. The bus, number one, is playing loud music, bunch of Crown Royals, beer, everything. Taco Bell every night. That's why my gut is horrible now. And then we roll into a casino. These poor casinos, man. When we rolled in, just think about what that looks like. And then we take over like a blackjack table. I remember one time we were betting a lot of money and being really drunk and really having a lot of fun. And I remember Dime was hungry, and he kept asking, where can everything was closed. So we were betting so much money, and I guess we were good customers. They had McDonald's delivered to us. I never had that in my life. They had McDonald's. I was eating a Big Mac at Blackjack.
At a casino?
At a casino. I swear that happened at the casino because they didn't want us to leave. They made it happen. And okay, that's all good. Some crazy time, so loved it.
Yeah, so up next we have another Frank Bello pick. This one is Quicksand. They're actually opening for Clutch at Palladium Times Square on the 16th with Helmet, too.
That's a great show. If I'm home, I'm going to go to that one for sure.
It's a crazy lineup.
Yeah, it's a great bill for sure.
And what's special to you about Quicksand?
Just, they play with us quite a lot in the early days, and this record specifically, Slip, is just an awesome record. It's one of my go-to records for riffs. I just think the riffing is amazing. Walter's voice. I love this band. It's just a great band. So if you don't know about Quicksand, check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So we got Quicksand, Head to Wall coming up next right here on WSOU. Chilling here with Frank Bello. Keep it locked. Only by Anthrax right here on WSOU 89.5. Your home for the loudest rock. This is Patrick, and we are here with Frank Bello. That was a Frank Bello Anthrax pick.
Yeah, man. We put that song back into the set in this last tour with Black Label and Hatebreed, and it went over really well. People were wanting to hear something from the John Bush era, and it's great to hear John also.
Yeah.
And it was really nicely received, and you saw everybody in the audience singing that song, which I love. So it really worked out well. We changed the set list up quite a lot in this one, so it seemed like everybody was happy anyway.
Did you want to play more deep cuts on this one because it was a 40th anniversary?
I wanted to switch. I think we all wanted to switch it around. Look, here's what happens when you're in a band. You have to make everybody happy. Not everybody's going to be happy. That's just the way it is. You have a big catalog. We've been around for a while. I want to play deep cuts, but some of those deep cuts, if you play them, you hear crickets, and that's the God's honest truth. So you have to play these specific songs. You got to play Indians. You got to play Caught in the Mosh, stuff like that, and specific songs that people want to hear. They're paying the money, and they should. They should get what they want to hear. And then we do that. So for this, we brought a song back like "Keep It in the Family." That's a deep cut from Persistence of Time. So just different songs, just to make go through our catalog for the 40 years. That's what we tried to do. Metal Thrashing Mad from the first record. It was important for us to do that, and I think everybody, for the most part. Most people were satisfied. That's what we heard anyway.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how spreading the disease was a big turning point for the band, and which you wouldn't even think. You would think that would be because they switched the singer, they switched the bass player from the first album, but something happened and people just rocked with it. But we got a song up next from, I guess, the second turning point for the band, the one that was really the real deal, which is Among the Living, right?
Yeah, Among the Living is pretty much where Anthrax broke. That stamped us. That put a stamp on us, and it gave us. Charlie says this all the time, and I think it's a good line. It gave us a career. This record, we're still playing a lot of songs off that record because it's so popular. 4 or 5 songs in the set that people just are diehard. They need to hear those songs, which I love because they're fun to play and part of our history, and it's all good, and it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. So I'm very proud of this record, and this song specifically, Indians, is just one of those songs that everybody sings.
Yes, this is also a listener request. If you have any requests for this Frank Bello on-air takeover, you can call or text 973-761-9768. That's 973-761-WSOU. For now, it's Indians by Anthrax. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to say thank you. Thanks for everybody that came out to these shows and the support over the years for songs like this and the band Anthrax. So I have to say that. Thank you for asking for a song like this. That's quite a few years old, and it's still relevant, and that matters to me.
Yeah, for sure. So that is coming up next. It's Indians by Anthrax on your home for the loudest rock, WSOU. Keep it locked. That was Animals as Leaders, Red Miso, off of their Parisia album right here on 89.5 WSOU. That was another Frank Bello pick. If you're just tuning in, we are here with Frank Bello from Anthrax, celebrating 40 years of thrash. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm enjoying talking to you guys and off radio, so it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good experience here. I haven't been here in a long time. You guys have a lot of new things going on here. Give me some free shirts. Thank you for that. Very happy. Now I have laundry for the week. It's great. So.
Yeah, we do have some new merch. Definitely go check it out at WSOU.net. We just heard from Animals as Leaders. That was Red Miso off of the Parisia album, which you heard a lot from a few months ago when that album just came out on WSOU. And Frank, you were just saying how crazy the musicianship is from that band.
Look, I found out about them late, and once I heard them, I said, "Man, you have to go deep."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love good musicianships, and I think they take chances. In this life, life is short. Take chances, and I love they just go for it, man. You hear it in their songs, so I'm a big fan.
And they don't have a bass player, right? It's all Tosin doing the funky stuff.
It's kind of great, It's innovative, and I love that stuff. They're expanding the boundaries, which I always look for. So yeah, I got into them late, but now I'm a big fan.
And before that was another pick you had that was Slayer, Criminally Insane off of
Who is the Slayer band I keep hearing about? Yeah. It's funny. We're obviously good friends. We've done a lot of touring over the years. And my friend Kerry moved to New York now. And we had a night a couple of months ago. And it was one of those good nights. It was one of those fun drinking nights. And we haven't had them in a long time. So it's nice to know. Actually, we're due for another one. So when I heard that song, I just remembered I got to call him because it's time to have another, because I'm off tour now, so it's party time.
And before we didn't get a chance to talk about it, we played Battery by Metallica. That was another request you had.
One of those great James Hetfield riffs, right? It's so infectious. James is, I've known him forever. Metallica deserves a success, and I'm glad that they're leading the charge, and I hope they do another Big Four one day.
Yeah, for sure. And is it weird for you when people call Metallica Bay Area thrash? Because they were just as big on the East Coast early on as
That's
Anthrax
where they
was,
started,
right?
though. I think that's important to remember where they started. That's important. I know they're the world's band now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forget where you came from, and
Right.
that's the point. And look, like we were on the East Coast, we were a New York band. Everybody says that, but everybody, we travel the world. We're lucky enough to do that. I don't think you ever forget where you come from. I think that's important in life.
And up next, we have one of your projects. We get to hear some more Frank Bello action.
Yeah, Altitudes and Attitude. A few years ago, put this record out. Very proud of it. A lot of people liked it. It's hard rock. It's just hard rock. Aside from the metal thing I do. So these are the songs. It's me singing. Wrote a lot of these songs. And, this leads up to, and I'm going to ask you about this later, Patrick. I'm putting you on the spot. I have an EP that's coming out in November that I'm really psyched about. Just heavy rock, just like this.
Yeah.
So if there was a second record to the Altitudes and Attitude, these songs would be on. So I'm interested. I'm going to make you hear them later.
Yeah, for sure. We also had a listener call in and said they really liked your book. So
cool,
if you want to plug that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I always plugs are plugs. Plugs are good. Last year, I put out a book called The Fathers, Brothers, and Sons about my lifestyle, my life growing up in the Bronx, family of 5, abandoned by my dad at 10 years old. I was the oldest. Heartaches, all that stuff, and how to really brush yourself off after a lot of hardships, really, and brushing yourself off and say, look, I got to move on. And a lot of people are finding this book, which I'm really proud of, and saying it really helped them. It's like more like it props people up and makes them feel good about it and know they can do things in their life after being beaten down. So I think that's really important. So really, especially for people that at your age and saying things are so good now, but letting you know that you can brush yourself off and move on. And look, I've been very lucky with success with the band and stuff and my musical career, but just letting you know that, yeah, there is an outlet and there is a better tomorrow if you just look for it and brush yourself off and give yourself a chance. Very important.
Of course. And this is all just in the past few years, your book, Altitudes and Attitude, and your upcoming solo EP. Did you ever get a chance to do anything like this when you were with Anthrax, all of this solo stuff?
There was no time. As you know, Patrick, we're a touring band, and when you're on the rise and I was never home. I bought, I remember back in the day, in the early 90s, I bought a condominium that I thought I was going to live in, but it became more like a storage facility. It really was. I just put everything I bought on tour, it was clogged with mess. It was crazy. And then my brother really worked as he worked it all out, and he took it over. So, but yeah, there was never time. So I'm very happy where it's at now.
So we got one of those solo projects up next, Altitudes and Attitude. The song is called Late, and then after that we have another listener request, an Anthrax request. It's "I'm the Man" from the "I'm the Man" EP.
Yeah, it still goes, man. It's funny how that was a thing that we didn't know was going to take off like it did. It was literally, that was supposed to be for people don't know, that was supposed to be for the Beastie Boys to do. Do you know that?
Yeah, I heard that. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard that it was kind of a Beastie Boys parody or tease, but
right, and literally they were supposed to do it. They were going to do this song, and schedules, of course, because everybody's on the road all the time, it didn't work out. So Charlie Scott and I went in the studio and just did it the way we thought it should be done, and it just took off. It had its own life, man.
All right, so that's all coming up next. If you have any requests for Frank and I, you can call or text 973-761-9768. That's 973-761-WSOU. Those lines are still open, so we got Altitudes and Attitude up next, followed by I'm the Man. Keep it locked. That was Rush with Free Will right here on The Loudest Rock, 89.5 WSOU, and we are chilling with Frank Bello from Anthrax.
Playing one of my favorite bands, Rush. I think there was a question before about one of my favorite bass lines, and you just heard it right there. That bass solo with Geddy Lee and the jam, it's just one of those things that I learned as a bass player that made me want to play bass, made me want to get better, and it just showed me the things that were possible with bass. And Geddy continues to inspire me. He's one of those guys, him, Steve Harris, Geezer Butler, these great bass players that just continue to inspire me, and I'll always be a student,
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably the wildest transition, too. I've heard on SOU. You played I'm the Man and then Free Will by Rush.
That's a little different, right?
And we were talking more about I'm the Man earlier. You said earlier when you heard it walking through the station, it like totally took you back, right?
It takes you back like a scrapbook of your life. And I remember Charlie Scott and myself in the studio, because the Beastie Boys were supposed to do that song originally. That was written for the Beastie Boys when we did it. But schedules, as they do, they go awry, and they couldn't do it. So we decided to just go in the studio and have a ball. And what you hear on that recording, we had a ball and just made fun and just had a good time. And that thing had its life of its own, man. It just took off on its own and went platinum right away. It was just, people really dug it. And, there was a time we couldn't play a show without that song. So it was a good vibe.
And that was right after Spreading the Disease. Was it nice to kind of take a load off and just make something goofy?
Yeah, well, that wasn't contrived, because that was just supposed to be like a B-side. We're just going to do it like the scrap, like stuff Anthrax is known for doing B-sides and cover versions. That was supposed to be something fun on the side, and we put it out, and it just, like I said, it just took off on its own, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And what Big Mondo called in
Hi,
earlier.
Mondo. If you're listening, Mondo, hello. How are you, bro?
Yeah, apparently he's fixed Jen's car before, so Jen says hi, and I'm sure she's very appreciative for
fixing it right.
Yeah, and this one's going out to Big Mondo because Jen said he most likely wants to hear some Life of Agony, so this is a Frank Bello Life of Agony pick. It's Lost at 22.
Love this song. Love this band. Good friends of mine. New York, all that good stuff. Great shows. We toured with them a lot. Just and this is one of those catchy songs that's it's infectious, and it's just this. If you haven't heard of Life of Agony, please listen to them.
All right, so we got that coming up next. Those request lines are still open, 973-761-9768. That's 973-761-WSOU. And you can ask Frank any questions you want to hear on our Instagram at WSOU. There's a little question box on the Instagram story. You're really getting a social media crash course here today, huh?
I am. I'm learning because I suck at it. I'm really bad at it, but I'm learning. You know what? I'm finding you have no choice but to do social media. It's the only way, and I'm learning new ways. My son wants to get me into the whole TikTok thing and all that stuff, so I'm learning as we go.
Yeah, it was MTV, I guess, was TikTok back in the day, huh?
Yeah, and that was, you didn't need to do anything. But back then, you weren't in control of it. They were in control of it. Now I think people are in control of their own destiny, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure. So we have all that coming up next. Here's Life of Agony, Lost at 22, here with Frank Bello on WSOU. Keep it locked. That was Turnstile with Generator right here on WSOU, your home for the loudest rock. This is Patrick, and that was another pick by our guest, Frank Bello.
Yeah, Turnstile was turned on to by a friend, and I started listening to it. I said, this is just really good. It's melodic, it's heavy all at the same time, and that's I like that chemistry of it all. So it's good to hear bands like this coming out, Yeah,
they're one of those bands where you'll hear them on alt radio, but you'll hear the the more mainstream stuff, but they've got some really, really heavy stuff that we play on WSOU. I think like Chevelle's another one of those bands. Nine Inch Nails is one of those bands.
I know the Chevelle guys very well. Another great band. When I played with Helmet, I was on tour with Chevelle. Got to be good friends, and they kicked ass every night. Really, really good band. Just good songs. It's all about good songs.
Yeah, and what was it like recording with Helmet? Because that was another what a lot of people don't realize.
Well, I didn't record with Helmet. I got in the band right after the record came out. I did a full year and a half of debauchery tour. We did a snowcore tour. I remember that with Chevelle. And it was just a lot of fun because I grew up with John. You know John Tempesta from The Cult, the drummer?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I grew up with Johnny going to high school in the Bronx, at Lehman High School in the Bronx. So we grew up together, and to be in the band with him that whole time, because we used to go to jazz class in high school and get in a lot of trouble because we used to be, I played the stand-up bass. I wasn't allowed to play the electric because I was a metal guy, right? And he played the drums. We would get in there earlier. We would get into a jazz class earlier to like jam metal songs. So they have this big 15-inch speaker amp, a bass amp, and John would be on the drums. So we'd be playing like Sabbath and Maiden and stuff like that. And those are the days where there was a lot of metalheads just circling us and headbanging. So it would be like 20, 30 kids from the class just jamming and headbanging. And my teacher, you see her, she'd come through the crowd like pushing everybody away, grab the sticks out of Johnny's hands, pull the plug out of the amp, and she'd go, out. We were in the principal's office just about every day for doing that because we were metalheads. Because they didn't look upon as a good thing to playing metal at jazz, but it was fun.
And this next song, it's funny because a lot of people, at the time they didn't see metal as music, at least not as much as jazz is. But this next song is from Persistence of Time, which a lot of people say is when Anthrax got a little more heavy duty, a little darker musically.
It's a darker record for sure. Yeah. I mean,
What were there any different influences for this one when you went in to write it?
I think that was the mood of the band at the time, of where we were at, and I just think we were just angry, and I think that's a good recipe for good music, good heavy music. So. I really like this record. It's a consistent record. That's what I think about this record. It's a good staple. People love this record, but it is a darker record, and I like that darkness because people know Anthrax is like a fun band and stuff like that, but there's a dark side to us that's pretty scary.
And what's it like when you're playing shows? Because we just heard "I'm the Man," which became a staple at a show. If you go from "I'm the Man" to a much darker sound from Persistence of Time, where is your head when you're playing these shows?
It's kind of in the middle. I think you just go with it and see. You can't contrive this stuff. Like you're living your life today. It's day to day. I just think it comes out through the music and where your vibe is, and especially a band. A band is a living, breathing thing, and whatever comes out of you, you're like a sponge. So you absorb it into your brain, and this is what comes out. And at this time, you could tell it was a dark period.
Yeah, and we were talking before about how "I'm the Man" was a Beastie Boys cover, and you said how Anthrax is known for B-sides and covers. This next song, "Got the Time," a lot of people don't know, is a cover. It was Joe Jackson originally.
Jackson. If you haven't heard his live, I specifically say this. Listen to the live version because it's incredible. It's faster than ours, I think. But this song, people really get crazy. We started this last tour with Black Label and Hatebreed, we just finished. We started it without this in the set. And people they just wanted to hear this song, so we were writing in to get this song back in the set. So we put it in the set, and wouldn't you know it, it just blows up. You start, for me, it's great because the bass starts this song.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as you start the bass riff, you hear automatically people go nuts. And then the pit starts. It's just one of those.
Pit opens up with this song. It opens on the bass, which is
It opens
great
on
for
the
you.
bass riff, which is, and people just go out of their minds, which is awesome. For me to watch. So I'm the bass player. So, and then just the reaction, it just gets people going to the next level, which is what you want in a song,
Oh yeah, for sure. Was this record was 1990 too?
I know,
so,
isn't that weird? And if time flies, and that's what's crazy about this, Patrick. A song like this, you talk about that recording it so long ago, but we just finished the tour last week. Still relevant. Still people going crazy over the song, which is really, it's a really good place to be in, I think, you know?
Yeah, this is one of my personal favorite Anthrax songs. I didn't realize it was a Joe Jackson cover until I started doing research for my interview with Scott, and I heard the Joe Jackson version. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And we were big fans of Joe Jackson's. We were actually supposed to get together in London one time to do this, but his taxi got it was late. He was late in getting to the show. He was trying to make it to the show. He loves our version, so we're very complimented from that.
All right, so that's coming up next. Got the Time and another Anthrax, a little Anthrax double shot up next. It's Got the Time and Who Cares Wins, another Frank Bello Anthrax favorite. And we're just about wrapping up. If you have anything else you want to say, any more shout outs, you can call or text 973-761-9768. That's 973-761 WSOU. Anything else you want to add before Got the Time?
No, I just, this has been a great journey, the way I look at it. And for you guys in SOU to always, you guys are always pulling for us and always helped us through our career. So I respect this station in a big way. It's worth it for me to drive an hour and 15 minutes from my house because I think this needs to be nurtured and to make more people listen to metal. I think it's a really important thing that you guys do. So thank you.
Absolutely, of course. So it's Got the Time by Anthrax up next here on your home for the loudest rock, 89.5 WSOU. Here with Frank Bello. Keep it locked. Who Cares Wins by Anthrax right here on WSOU 89.5 FM. That's WSOU FM here in South Orange, New Jersey. And we're here with Frank Bello from Anthrax. You having a good time?
I'm having a good time. I'm learning about radio. Thank you, Patrick. I'm learning buttons and how they work and how you could talk over. Wow, I'm pretty impressed, kid.
Yes, I was just showing him how we have this thing, a sophisticated radio term called hitting the post, which is when you hear radio DJs talk over the intro of a song until the vocals kick in. And back in the day, they would just kind of have to do it by ear. But now with these computers we have, we can mark the amount of time that it takes before the vocals kick in. So you see a little bar moving along. Once the bar gets to the end, that's when you got to shut up. So that's just something we do.
That's pretty cool.
I don't like it when people do it all the time, though. Like one time this guy on classic rock radio, he talked over like the entire intro of Panama.
Oh, see, you can't do that. It's sacrilegious, man. It's like, well, you usually have you don't have that announcer. Hey, this is that kind of, and he ruins the whole thing. You don't want to hear him talk. You want to hear. And you want to hear Panama, right? I totally get that.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to do it. You got to do it with the song, but it's still fun.
It's still fun. Yeah.
Like with Got the Time, that one's perfect because you got the bass in there for like 10 seconds, and then the drums kick in, and then it's all good. But so we're just about out of time here. We're celebrating 40 years of Anthrax.
Man. 40 years went fast, but this couple of hours went fast, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had quite a few Frank Bello picks. That's probably the only time you're going to hear Rush during the day on WSOU. Maybe one day just for fun I'll do another I'm the Man into Rush transition.
You're never going to hear that again, but which is cool because look, I'm a Rush geek, so anytime you could hear them, anytime around the world is fine with me.
Yes, and we did have one question from a listener that went unanswered, so we'll say it now. A listener wanted to know where the name Anthrax came from.
That was from science class before I was in the band. Danny Luca, the original bass player, and Scotty, and the guitar player, were in the same class, and they thought they saw it on the board, and they said that'd be a cool looking name, and it just worked like that.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes when I'm in here doing research during my DJ shifts, finding stuff to talk about, and Anthrax is on, like you Google Anthrax and then you forget to put Anthrax band, and then it's like, oh god,
it can get ugly really quick.
Yeah,
but thankfully people look at it. But believe me, around 9/11 when that stuff happened, when that whole Anthrax scare came out, it was pretty tough because people were getting confused with us. And it's like, look, we're just in this band, we have nothing to do with that, but it all worked out.
Yeah, for sure. And we're gonna close the show with Gung Ho. This is your last pick of the day. This
is a fast song, and I figured why not go out fast and furious?
Mm-hmm.
And it's some kick-ass. Am I allowed to say that? Was that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
We all have one. Charlie Benetti's drums in this are just incredible. So I enjoy this. The crowds go nuts when we do that. We didn't play this on the last tour, but when we do play this occasionally, it gets nuts.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just about wrapping up. Frank, thank you so much for doing this.
Patrick, you've been great to me. Thank you. You know what? I've learned a lot today from you guys. And I have to say this again about SOU, WSOU. Thank you for what you do for this community, this metal community. It's so important that we have you guys and keep going. And I love that there's a new generation of metalheads coming out through you. You have to understand you're impressing a lot of people. And this sounds like a kiss butt thing, but it's not. We need this to grow our audience. Not only Anthrax, the bands, and just this next metal. The next person that wants to play guitar is listening to the station right now. That's going to write the next metal riff. That's going to be the next biggest band. So I think it's very important for what you guys do and continue to do. So thank you. Continue the great work.
Of course. And if you want to be more connected with us, we don't just broadcast on FM. We're on social media. Make sure to check us out. We're also on YouTube. That's where most of these interviews are. And we're also on Spotify. So once we get the recording of this all settled out, you can listen to the full Frank Bello experience on Spotify.
Very cool.
And I think that's just about it. We got Gung Ho up next. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, man. Just looking forward to the next Anthrax goes, and we'll have a record out next year, all that good stuff. We go to England in a couple of weeks. I have an EP coming out in November. I'd like people to know about it, along with my paperback for my book. November 2nd it comes out. So I have an EP. It's a solo EP. I hope people give it a chance.
All right. And where can we find you?
You can find me at The Frank Bello. All Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm all good.
All right. So, Frank, thank you so much for doing this. We're going to close it with Gung Ho by Anthrax. Thank you for tuning in to WSOU. And the show's not over. We still got some metal up next. You just won't be here for it.
Cool.
So.
I'm leaving. Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Yes, of course. So make sure you stay tuned because the metal's always flowing on WSOU. Here's Gung Ho by Anthrax. Keep it locked.